tell us what would be your advice for any female who wants to start and needs to look at the compliance part of things?
You really need to start by understanding that you either are or are not in a regulated business. If you're in a field where you have to be a member of this or a member of the local chamber of commerce, you need to do that. Because much as we think of ourselves often as digital nomads and under the radar, we are not. We are increasingly being seen and heard and found by both the taxman and other regulators. You also need to realize that you do need to pay tax somewhere. The fantasy that we all sit on a beach with a laptop and make $1 million tax-free is an illusion and a delusion. And even if you think you shouldn't be paying tax, somebody has to build hospitals and make roads, and that comes from the taxes we pay. Don't go under the radar, because later on it causes you massive problems. And we do see tiny businesses start making money and then get killed by a big tax demand because they didn't sort themselves out in that area. Money and regulation, there's obviously data privacy and data handling comes next, but that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story, and it is very overwhelming. But I have to say, Annabel, that I sat down and I flicked through what is really required. And once I've written down a kind of set of rules and how I go through data, how I hold the data, and how I am going to process the data. And I also made a contract with everybody in my company to sign it off, because Poland was crazy about the GDPR at that time. They are not so much anymore, but I mean, it wasn't that difficult after all, and it all made sense. In terms of GDPR, what are the most important things you have to be compliant if your business is based in EU or UK?
I think it's easier to think of data as money, because in a sense, the reason why we have to be very careful with our customers' data, our suppliers' data, and our team data is people are trying to steal it. And they are trying to steal it in order to use it to make money for them. There's a big black market in personal data. And if we stopped thinking about it as just random bureaucracy and information, and understood that in effect, the people who give us information are lending it to us to take care of, we would approach the whole thing with a much more sensible hat on. And you're quite right. In that context, you need to know, what are you collecting and where are you keeping it? Because if every one of your clients and prospects were to give you £10 on loan, you wouldn't put it on a table and then leave the room with all the windows and doors open and go away for a week. But many of us do the equivalent when it comes to personal data, that we're very happy to collect it, but we don't really know why we're sharing it or how to secure it. And as the big cyber criminals are getting increasingly locked out, the big institutions, Jackie Taylor will tell you, they are coming down the food chain and starting to hack and fish smaller and smaller enterprises, because they know that many of us have left our doors open and we are easy pickings. We do need to look at securing our data, and that means not just sharing all of the information we have with anybody who happens to be on our team. You need to share only the information they need to do their job. And the biggest thing freelancers suffer from on the receiving end and on the giving out is login sharing. If you are sharing a login with someone else, you can't have multi-factor authentication on, so you've had to drop your level of security anyway. And then if something goes wrong, you can't tell which of the 2 of you or 5 of you or 10 of you made the error that led to the problem. And people are really wicked about login sharing as far as I'm concerned. We come up against it every single day.